Welcome, everybody. I'm sorry about that intro. That was yesterday's intro, not today's intro. But thank you all for being here. We are in beautiful Las Vegas here. I am Jay Rosenthal. You are AnnaRae Grabstein. You are Marc Hauser. And you are Kim Sanchez Rael.
Amen.
With Azuca. And we are starting our now second day, Wednesday and Friday, doing this morning in Cannabis live. And it's been super fun.
I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I think you guys are kind of smart, and I like to wake up in the morning and hang out with you and talk shit.
You want to hear what my kid said once? She said, "Dad, Mommy's smart, and you're smart in your own way."
Ooh,
I was like,
that's
oh,
a backhanded compliment, right?
It was not really a compliment. It was,
It sounds like that kid understands that women and moms rule the world. I'm with her.
So I am too. I was too, and I thought that was a nice way of saying that you have some skill. It's just not like all of them.
Yeah.
Just intelligence is not one of them, apparently.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think, but it's like when you have one of your senses taken away, the others get heightened, right? So you have to do other things, I think. So this has been good fun. We were here Wednesday. We got through a bunch of people. And then the nice part is that people saw it and acknowledged it.
If you're watching, thank you for caring. We hope you're entertained and becoming more well-informed.
Yeah. And I said earlier, just now before we press live, that we would send this on the road. And Kim astutely pointed out that you are on the road. Like this is the road. Nobody lives here. So, I mean, people live here, just not us. So welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here. Kim, give us, I had you on Cultivated Live a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago. Mm-hmm. And you had said something about Azuca and like 3,000% growth year over year. And I sliced it up. And then so many people responded to that. Like, how does a company actually prepare for that type of growth?
Yeah. Okay. So 3,000%. It was over a 3-year period. So I was like,
it's still a lot.
No,
I would take it over a 10-year period.
I'll take it. So that's the Inc. 5000 algorithm on how they, rank the fastest growing companies. But, I think how we prepare for that, I had the good fortune of spending 7 years at Intel in the 1990s, and semiconductors in the 90s was how fast can you grow and maintain quality, right? It's up and to the right. So I think that experience in rapid growth, quality systems, scalability, it's built into everything we do, even though we're in this wild world of cannabis now.
Yes.
Yeah.
What has been the thing that has broken along your scaling path that has surprised you?
That is broken. The thing that's trickiest, I think, is choosing the right manufacturing partners, right? And vetting everybody that you work with for quality and consistency in their practices. So we have a big focus on quality systems.
It's such a good call out because as an ingredient company, there is this layer of the manufacturers that you depend on to really use your ingredient in the right way. But most likely, do you think of your customers as the manufacturers or the brands? The brands are the ones that are choosing to use your ingredient in their formulation, right?
Right. So our customers are really the brands. We sort of talk about our models being the brand behind the brands, or sometimes we say the Intel inside.
Well played.
Wonder why.
Yeah. Intel was a great place to go up. But I really think of the brands as our partners. They are our customers and our partners. We have a co-branded strategy. So all of our brands have our Time Infusion logo on them, which is really a stamp of quality and reliability, fast onset, trust. So people who see that stamp know that these products are going to kick in 5 to 15 minutes, predictable onset, predictable offset. So it's just really a brand partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And, is that something you just like, we did it at Intel, it was amazing, and that is why we're going to do here? Because that is like the most Intel thing ever.
It is very Intel.
Yeah.
Back in the day when Intel was like, people wanted to make sure they had an Intel chip inside their computer.
It was the most important part of like a Dell ad was the Intel inside.
I think it's just one of the more brilliant marketing moves over the last half century, honestly, is because I think largely brands have been the focus with the consumer, and Intel was the first example. I mean, they're like a case study in business school of how do you actually
not anymore
market and brand.
That's the whole other story.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But no, I'm just saying there is a whole chip war going on, and they are a small player in it.
Yes, but it was, I think, it's become kind of the, if you're a vendor to the vendor and you want to actually be forward thinking with your brand, it makes all the sense in the world.
But it needs to mean something.
Yeah, but we do a lot of collaboration with our brands on formulation. We have a team in our lab that does a lot of support on flavor profile. We do dozens of different form factors. So pretty much anything that you would not inhale, we have formulated for. So edibles, beverages, gummies, breath sprays, you name it. So we've got a lot of experience in a lot of different form factors, but the brands are each our partners. They'll come to us and say, hey, can we do a mint, or a chocolate, or bonbon, or like.
And the answer is generally yes, right?
Yeah.
Always.
I don't think we've found any ingestible form that we couldn't infuse.
Yeah.
Now some of them I think are, I'm not sure they're going to take off. Hot sauce.
Could you do a kanish for me?
Knish, I can.
All right.
We love
Did you
it.
have a condition today? I know you came from Seagull.
No, but I've been writing about a THC infused kanish for years, and it's sort of my holy grail of
I gotcha.
ironic.
I think it's a hard thing to scale, but something that you
That's
should
right.
definitely make
pretty
at
niche.
home.
I will.
Yeah.
I gotta try it just to sort of, that will be my retirement gift to myself.
And like, what is the total addressable market for infused knishes, really?
One.
Yeah, so we'll get you one. We'll make you one.
It will make me one.
It's fine.
Can you talk a little bit about the business itself? I mean, some of our viewers may not be familiar with your company yet. And I honestly, I know a little bit about your company, but I don't really know about the scope of it and a little bit about the story. So can you just take 2 minutes, tell us a little bit more about the company and you and how you built it?
Sure. So Azuca set out to solve the classic edibles problem, right? Slow onset, poor predictability. And so the original formulations were invented by Ron Silver, who's a chef in New York City, cannabis fan all his life. And he created this way to make cannabinoids fast onset. And because he's a chef, everything that kind of fell out of his brain and that we've further developed, we've also always focused on flavor. So everything tastes great. And then also because, we didn't start in a chemistry lab. We now have a chemistry lab, but we started in a chef's kitchen, right? So everything had to be simple and scalable. So we put some constraints around our process early on that have enabled us to scale really well in this inherently unscalable industry, right? So the business challenge was, how do you then take this set of ingredients and this process, because it's part chemistry and part how do you do it, right? And how do you take those things and literally put them in a box? Well, we actually put them in a bottle, but and then enable brand partners to do these infusions that are actually quite complex, but we have to make them very simple because kitchen technicians all over the country who don't have huge staffs have to be able to do it repeatedly every single time, hit dosing every single time. And so we essentially modularized the process so that our brand partners, all they have to do is take our ingredient product, which is trademarked as activator. So activates the cannabinoids. That's the idea. We take these wonderful oil molecules and we activate them so that when human beings consume them, they have quick onset and they're predictable, as we said earlier. They also have, because they remain in the Delta 9 THC form, they have, people sort of describe it as a smoker's high in an edible form, which is also really kind of a unique attribute for these products. But our brand partners, all they have to do is take their active, it can be distillate, it can be any extract, and our activator, and put it in a time machine, which is a small piece of equipment, and push a button, and your infusion's done in an hour. And that goes into your gummy, your beverage, your cookie, your whatever you want to put it in. So we just had to make it, your knish, make it really, really, really simple and repeatable.
So you have actually brought a real time machine to life.
Yes, we have a time machine. We have a time machine. We love our little time machine.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is it a mixer, like a
thermal
ribbon mixer? Yeah.
It's a thermal mixer.
Would you be open to calling out some brands that you work with for the viewers that are out there that might be interested in trying an Azuca product?
Sure.
They can find?
I'm going to call out Wana Brands, who got the MJ last night for Best Infused Product. So Wana Brands, very well-known gummy brand all over the country. They have
My country too.
Yes, they have a line of classic gummies, and then we partnered with us. I think we launched in 2020 with Wana, And they also have a line of, they're called Wanna Quick. So they're
Yeah.
their fast onset ones. They have their classics. And then they have a line of optimals, which are functional effect-based gummies. And we are also in their functional gummies. So my favorite is Fast Asleep. I go to sleep.
I'm down with that.
But
I
Wanna
could just sleep.
Brands, yeah. We work with GTI, we work with Acreage, we work with, we've done over 120 license agreements now. So we have a lot of brands.
A lot of lawyers.
A lot of lawyers. I pay a lot of lawyers.
Never too many.
I love my lawyers.
Mark's a lawyer, so
Yes.
he loves that.
What is, from your perspective, being sort of a goods and service provider to the industry? So, one sort of half step removed from being sort of the operator itself. What is your perspective? What is the challenge today and looking forward, both for your company as well as for the industry? And getting paid on time is not, other than getting paid on time, because that's an issue for everybody in this industry. Other than getting paid on time, what do you see as the challenge going forward for this industry?
Well, I think the challenge is really coming together as an industry to advocate for a sensible policy framework for these incredible molecules. And I am an advocate for a one-plant approach. I think we need to think
Excuse me.
think in a framework federally of like what is the in product development, we talk about like the minimum viable product, right? I think from a policy perspective, we need to kind of think about what's the minimum viable federal policy that enables states that, to make their own decisions as well, that creates a platform for the plant to thrive. I think that's the biggest problem is really the regulatory mess. I think this is my 9th MJBiz. We all thought it would get more rational over time. We see it's not getting more rational, it's getting less rational. Less rational, yeah. The whole, now the state by state, on the hemp side, I think it's all hemp, right? The term marijuana, that was like an artificially created term. And then, decades later, Congress comes back and defines hemp, in 2018 part, it's all hemp.
Well, it's all hemp is cannabis.
Hemp is cannabis,
Yeah,
right?
it's all
And hemp is
cannabis,
a common name,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's all hemp, it's all cannabis. And I think that I think the challenge right now is getting all of us together to advocate for a one-plant solution.
Well, so you have sort of opened the door to talk about what's going on in federal policy. So I can't help myself, but from a strategic business perspective, I think that people were looking at 2026 if they were operating in the hemp space as a year of growth up until a few weeks ago, and we're really excited about the market continuing to grow at even a faster pace than it has before. And all of a sudden, that's shifting. And I'm curious about how your 2026 is potentially shifting, and any type of advice or insight that you can give other leaders who are navigating this time right now.
I think that's a really tough question.
I like tough questions.
Well, we were chatting, like I worked on Capitol Hill. I always have had a little toe in the political world, just because I'm really passionate about it. And one of my perspectives has been like, never bet your business on any regulatory body doing anything on any particular time frame, right? So I think that making decisions assuming Congress in particular is going to do anything is just a bad strategy. So I think we have to play the field we have. We have to get out there and advocate, right, for rational changes. But I think it's really tough on the hemp side because it's, when it's time to put plants in the ground, there's going to be, I don't think there's going to be a solution in Congress yet. I mean, I hope I'm wrong.
Of course.
But
You're not wrong.
It's 2026. It's midterms. We live and breathe this stuff, but we're a small issue in Washington, and that is just a harsh political reality. So I think 2026 is going to be a year of like, we got to be very agile. Everybody in the industry, like ready to respond to the chaos in the environment. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about brands that are only operating in the hemp space right now? Like, should they be thinking about moving into the adult use space and trying on the regulated market for size?
Some are. I think some are actively pursuing. If you've got a great, fused product, and it's unclear what's going to be viable in the hemp channel, then I think it is a great time to look for manufacturing partners in the regulated market, because people love great products.
Yeah.
And there are some great operators in all the regulated states. So it's a great time to pivot into that. But I think it's going to be a tough, chaotic year.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, certainly, it's probably easier for the food products versus to make that shift because the distribution sort of supply chain or logistics, I think is the right word, is already sort of built in. But from what I understand, the challenge for beverages within the licensed space has always been distribution and sort of the logistics of getting it and then having the store. And so it's probably going to be, if beverages are going to continue, to be a viable product, which they haven't been zero at dispensaries, but they're very small, is how do you solve that sort of logistics problem
at scale?
At scale, and can the industry do that? And
That's a tough one
it's a
for
tough question.
beverage.
Yeah, it's not an easy question.
But for other form
To answer.
factors,
Yeah, the
like
other form, like all the
But,
gummies and stuff, I think that.
But I'm sorry, but let me just finish on that thought is because I think the one thing that the hemp, this sort of hemp sort of experience has shown is that beverage is a very attractive form factor to expand the customer base. I mean, we've talked a lot about how, over time, the built-in consumer base for dispensaries, for licensed dispensaries, eventually sort of peters out. And because that core group of users or customers is satisfied. And the licensed industry hasn't done a great job of expanding that customer base. And, part of it is that it wants to stay true to the subculture, which is great, but, it just hasn't done that. And part of that, I think, there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of that is form factor. And drinks is, or like tinctures and things like that, and edibles to a certain extent, are ways of doing that. And so the hemp experience, again, has sort of shown it's very viable. How do can the licensed industry take advantage? There's a lot built into that. So I'm not trying to, that's not a backhanded way of suggesting anything, but can it sort of take that momentum and keep it going? Yeah. So, and that's more of an existential question.
I think you hit on it. I think the biggest problem for beverages in the regulated markets is the way they're regulated, and the requirements for vault and just the sheer sort of size of beverages in that distribution channel. So I think if states rethink some of those constraints, particularly for low dose beverages, I think there could be an opportunity, but I don't see states doing that quickly. Again, I think over time, time, this is all going to make sense. Like, we're going to be sitting here, with our grandkids, and go like, "Wow, remember when you couldn't take a cannabis beverage across state lines, right?" Our grandkids are going to say, "What was wrong with you?
Right?
What were you thinking?"
Yeah, and we had to go uphill both ways,
right?
Right, and keep the skull. It is interesting, though. You have me thinking. Last week I was in Florida, and the liquor stores have THC beverages and gum, and like all gummies. Like it was, and she was the woman at the grocery. She said it's like their most popular product right now.
Yeah.
Well, and like I think that's a tough thing to push against.
Yeah.
But like they're not keen of taking those off the shelves.
Right.
That's why the Wine and Spirits Wholesaler Association, I'm getting that wrong, is so behind all of this.
Yeah, they want it. More stuff to deliver.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
People who sell things like to have more things to sell,
Yes.
especially when consumers like them.
Yeah. Especially 20 to 30%
lots of choice.
Yeah.
I think that the real question is, even though that liquor store in Florida likes selling those products and those consumers like buying them. If they disappear, are those people going to fight to get them back?
Well,
because I think that it coming from businesses is just, it's not working.
Well,
clearly.
I'm also curious. This is a hypothetical. Like, I'm not sure they're taking them off the shelves, unless someone comes threaten their license.
I disagree.
I think all kinds of illegal shit, but they put them on the shelves with no authority.
Not at liquor stores.
Yeah, and
total
so what products will stay available to those stores?
Yeah,
and that means that if you're Wana and you are connected to a publicly traded company, you are no longer going to be producing something that you are not allowed to produce. So the most compliant, consumer safety focused products are going to leave the party.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are left are going to be the ones that are willing to break the rules. And that is good for absolutely no one.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's really the problem, is that even if the stores are willing to keep stuff on the shelf, then all we're doing is we're punishing the people who follow the rules.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
For people that don't. Yeah, but that's where you think we're going.
And
I do.
An illicit market for in the liquor store channel.
But I don't think
state.
You're not going to get Southern Glazers, RNDC.
No.
They're the big liquor distribution companies are not going to touch it.
Right.
And that is most of what is going to be. That's most of the logistics for the big, Total Wine and big wine chains. You may see it at small liquor stores or something like that, but that's not going to be. That's the exception, I think. And that to me is that that I don't know. I mean, you'll still have smoke shops. I mean, there's a smoke shop 2 blocks from me in California, even though hemp has been banned for a year now. So, and that thing hasn't gotten shut down. But but that's an enforcement problem. But yeah, I mean, it's just.
Well, let's take it back to Vegas.
Yeah.
I wanted to, so Kim, Azuca, I know, had a booth, and I think that maybe you're the first person that we've talked to in this what are we calling this roundabout of talking with people that had a booth. And I'd love to hear if you think that it was successful, what you thought of the event, and you closed any deals?
Nice.
So I would say it's been a good show for us. We have had a booth, I think, every year since 2019 or so. So it's a little less crowded, but what we have found is that the quality of the leads we've gotten have been on par with previous years. This show, every year we do the math, we check the numbers. This show always pencils for us. We always have a nice ROI from having a booth on the floor, so we'll be back again. It is less crowded, and for me, I kind of like that. I was mentioning to a few people that it feels like the lighting is better in the convention center. It feels like the air is fresher. So maybe that's part of the construction, the upgrade, but it feels better to me. Just walking around. I've been in a better mood.
Well, there's way fewer like tire kickers at the show. The show itself is like, it lends itself less to consumers and more to business people.
Yeah.
But also you have to want to be there now.
Yeah.
Like there's not a ton to see if you're not.
Definitely.
Right. And I think it's like honing in on who the people are there and what they want, and they're looking for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll echo the positivity. On Wednesday, I spoke on a panel, and I was a little skeptical that there were even going to be people in the room. And
were there?
Yes, the room ended up being packed. And,
that's great.
And I
Because you were on the panel.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I actually was a fill-in on the panel, so I wasn't even marketed as on the panel.
Oh.
So it wasn't because of
The
me.
late ad.
It was about next generation infusion technology, and we had a beverage manufacturer out of Georgia. We had someone that owns a bunch of brands, and we had a ingredient group. And so yeah, I think it went really well. It was interesting, and I actually met some people myself that I would have never met because of it, and I left feeling like really, really stoked that I met some new people and that the platform was valuable.
Yeah,
nice.
So you're right that
we're not here to do an MJBiz ad.
I'm not doing an MJBiz ad, but I am saying that like I am grateful that the conference exists to bring us all here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that all these other events and the party I got to throw yesterday morning and the awesome dinner I had last night, none of that wouldn't happen without the anchor of the event.
And we wouldn't be able to do this morning show
Yeah,
That's
and,
right, on
And
the
you
road.
and I wouldn't have
On the
finally
road.
got to meet in person.
in person. Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
and I tell the story, like our biggest customer, our biggest account came from MJBiz. It came also from, I tell my crew, like when we come to one of these things, we've got a rule. Like we are not allowed to hang out with each other. Like,
That's good.
you can't sit by somebody from Azuca.
That's good.
If you're at a
That's
party,
good.
like, split up, because we're here to meet other people. We can talk to each other all the time.
Yeah.
But our biggest customer, I met at one of those horrible, awkward, networking luncheons on forum day at MJBiz, and we just randomly sat down next to each other at, the awkward networking lunch, and
Nice.
that turned into our largest account. So I just really encourage people to go out there and
Don't hang out with each other.
Yeah.
don't hang out with each other.
It's so true. You
Yeah.
can't underestimate kind of the things that you can't predict.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to insert yourself into places where you can just kind of crash into opportunities. I think that's science. That's the physics of it all. If from home, from behind the computer, that magic will not happen.
Fair enough.
What kind of, without divulging any sort of secrets, but what is sort of the future of the kind of products you're developing for customers? Is it faster and even more reliable on set? Is it, are there other ways of sort of thinking about it that, of approaching, what goes into products to make it even better? I mean, what's sort of what's on the horizon technology wise?
So one of the things that is pretty new and really innovative is an activator that we developed called whole plant activator. And this is a product and a process where you use actual flower as your active ingredient in your infused gummy or whatever you want to put it in. So what this process does is it takes the whole inflorescence of the flower, the cannabinoids, the terpenes, flavonoids, and turns them into a fast-acting ingredient. Now, this is like, even when it comes out of my mouth, I'm like,
cool.
do this, we just like, it's not an extraction. So there's a brand called Flower Union Brands, which has this, is using this process to make a whole plant gummy. And they have launched in Colorado and New Jersey. And when I describe these gummies, it's like, these gummies taste like a really good grow smells. And you can see some of them are purple and some of them are, pink, and some of them are yellow. And that's just that's the color of the flower, from the flower.
Huh.
It's like, there's a line with no flavoring or coloring added. So it's really just, it's an edible that is so true to the plant. So it's a kind of a
Tastes like it.
connoisseur's edible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
wonderful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love the taste of cannabis personally, and
Shocking.
I've been disappointed by all of these fake flavors that have
Yeah.
gotten added to products. So
And
that's
you
so
got,
cool.
You got to
yeah.
try the
really
Flower Union whole plant.
What
gummies.
market is that in?
So they're now in New Jersey and Colorado,
Okay.
and they're fantastic.
Awesome.
I like it.
But, so that's I think a really innovative approach
Yeah,
to
it's really
use
interesting.
products.
Yeah.
It's like digging where others are zagging.
Yes, yes.
That's a good
Well,
one.
and
I
it
like that.
occurs
That's
to me
really-
that with something like that, there could potentially be a non-sweet edible that someone could formulate that could actually win. I know that there's some savory stuff. People have done like chips and stuff, but none of the savory edibles, or non-sweet at least, have really hit a top 10 list that I've seen anywhere. And as someone that doesn't love sweet stuff, and
You talked to Rick Bashkoff
Yeah,
about
I'm really
the
interested.
data. But my guess
The
is the sweet
people
ones.
like sugar.
Yeah,
That's what the data says.
Have you seen Vegas? The whole city is.
That's the kind of insight you come to this.
Yeah,
for.
salt,
It's
sugar,
like
and fat.
that. People like sugar.
You like this. We did a everything bagel
Oh.
seasoning.
Oh, I
If
love
you-
it. Oh,
So you
cool.
put it on anything,
Tell
right?
me more.
I mean,
You're getting so close to your finish.
There you go.
There you go. It's
Good pumpernickel.
it's
We're thinking about renaming this week the week of bagels.
Bagels.
Because it's like we're
it's
surviving on
backstory.
bagels.
Yes. Yes.
Farm bagels, stale bagels, all the
It's
bagels.
the most.
I want to thank you, Kim, for coming in.
Yeah,
I always
thank
have a
you.
good time talking to you. I think the first time we talked was last year at the show, and then at least once in between, and then now. So I appreciate that. Yeah, and we are on the road, but we're gonna take this on the road. And if you're on the road with us, it'll be
I'll
have
be
a
there. I'll
whole
be there.
have a whole crew going.
Like
I like it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Enjoy
you. Thank you
the
for having me.
Yeah.
rest of the show and travel home and all that jazz. Thanks so much.
Nice to meet you.
Excellent. Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming.
Great to meet you.
We have our next guest coming in, Jason Tarasek from Vicente LLP. I think
I think
he's busy.
He's momentarily.
We're going to talk about
dispersed,
Minnesota.
yeah.
We're even going to talk about Wisconsin, Jason's home state. Well, where he's from. He lives in Minnesota. You can come,
Nice.
Yeah, come
but
on.
you
You,
go that way because you're going to need a
Did you
mic.
bring some cheese curds from Mars Cheese Castle? Well, then you're not allowed to sit in the chair.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Jason, welcome.
Thank you.
Jason,
Hi.
AnnaRae
AnnaRae.
Grabstein,
Hi.
Marc
Yeah.
Hauser.
Nice to meet you.
Jason
We've met
Taras-
on Zoom before. You're
Yeah.
taller than
Oh, he's wicked tall.
yeah. You know,
Wicked.
I had
tall.
never met Jay in person before either, and
Shorter.
you were shorter than I thought. I'm also
Mm.
tall, so I like to surprise people with that.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that,
People
did that
forget.
surprise you?
It did. It did. It did.
Well,
But-
thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad you're here.
Yeah, your height is surprising. That's always yours, but I find people
I try to warn people, but they're always so surprised. Freakishly tall.
they are surprised.
It's helpful to reach the top shelf.
Yes,
It really is.
I have these big tongs at the house. Like I can get the things on the top shelf, or you can just come over.
Yeah, the things I've never considered.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
I'm gonna be so distracted. I'm a golfer, and this is
Oh
like
yeah.
the most beautiful.
I don't
view.
think the cameras can see
Okay,
that.
well, it's really
Over the
beautiful.
ledge, there's a golf course between here and the wind
That is
course.
just, ugh.
I think it's the
in
window.
middle of
Like
a
golf
concrete
form
jungle.
right out the window.
Yeah.
In the middle of a concrete jungle. It's like
Yeah,
this
it's
is
amazing.
Vegas.
There's a lake too.
But this being Vegas, that golf course also has a strip club and a dispensary.
Yes.
Yes.
It does?
And an injury lawyer
No, it
office. Yeah.
Morgan and Morgan are there.
Morgan and Morgan, yes.
Jason, you are a lawyer.
Yes,
You started your practice Minnesota cannabis law.
I did.
Now you're at Vicente LLP.
Yeah, he knows my whole story.
Yeah, I do. We've known each
He's
other.
about to tell it.
Well, that's what
I
I'm
don't
gonna
even
tell.
need to talk. I'm out of here.
No, but from day T-minus 3 years to when the Minnesota conversation was happening, you've
Mhm.
been the Minnesota cannabis lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And are we close?
Close
It's
to
been
what?
100
We're
years,
not just
Jason.
close. We're there.
Can we
Okay.
say WTF
Wait,
Minnesota?
close-
Can we give us an update
close to
on what's
what?
happening? I want the Minnesota update.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on a panel yesterday, and we had a member of our regulatory body there, and so I think the panel was being very nice. But I try to give them some grace. It's their first time at this too, and
Very diplomatic.
yeah. Why it's been a clunky rollout, no doubt, but we finally do have licensed businesses opening their doors. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of product.
Yeah, the
So
supply
the
chain.
dispensaries are opening, and
Selling T-shirts,
yeah. So
hats.
They're probably not
2026.
allowed to sell
I
t-shirts.
know.
2026 is when it will really happen. But yeah, we're actually
Mhm.
launching, and yeah, it's been a long time.
But so Minnesota has been this like rainbow utopia for the launch of hemp beverages over the last
Yeah.
couple years,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of industry onlookers, myself included, were really hopeful that Minnesota was going to present this coming together of open retail
Yeah.
for low dose beverages, more high potency products for that type of consumer in the dispensary channel. And it just seems like that is becoming less and less likely to be the future with the new regulations.
Right.
And what really hit it home for me when I saw your attorney general's name on a letter supporting hemp prohibition at the federal level, which just seemed like a real surprise. Considering that Minnesota has put so much effort into their hemp program.
And has hemp farmers.
What,
I need to continue being diplomatic,
Okay.
but you are absolutely correct. That surprised me too. I think perhaps he didn't understand the full story of what was happening, the implications of that letter. So Minnesota has been regulating hemp-derived products for years. We make sure it can only be sold to adults. It's tested, it's labeled, etc. But not every state is like that. And it does make me uncomfortable. For instance, you mentioned Wisconsin. I was on State Street in Madison where they were selling THCA hemp flower in a canister in a convenience store, right? Because it's completely unregulated there. And who knows what's in that, right? You don't know what you're putting in your body. So, I think in the interest of public health, stepping back, I understand why perhaps they wanted to close that loophole in the Farm Bill because, Minnesota's doing it right, but a lot of places are doing it wrong just by ignoring it. So it's super unfortunate. And yeah, we had great plans to have this wonderful regulated hemp market and a regulated adult use market, and of course, Congress is.
Well, so you guys are
Thrown
both
us for a loop.
lawyers. I mean, help me understand
No offense.
as a non-lawyer. I'm so sorry. But aside
Offense
from
taken.
that, like, I want to push a little more on this Attorney General in Minnesota thing. What is the responsibility of a state attorney general to represent the constituency of their state versus getting to have personal opinions or of what they think the law should be or where it should be going? How do you guys see the role of a state level attorney general in engaging with federal policy?
Do you want to start with that, or?
That's a tough question.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear what you.
Well, yeah, it's probably a little easier for me to answer because you're much more in the thick of it, and it's probably a little. I barely have clients, so you actually have clients. So I just have a platform. I think that you got the theoretical versus the reality, and the reality is the attorneys general weigh in all the time on every issue. I mean, the attorneys general, there's two main groups of attorneys general, one for the Republican and one for Democrat, and they are very powerful groups that are very active. And so the fact that that letter was signed by the AGs was not surprising because they weigh in on everything. And so, that's the reality. Who is their constituency? And that's a very fair question. But it is I guess whatever answer there is probably not going to be satisfying. However,
They do whatever they want.
Yeah, they can kind of do whatever they want. It's
Mhm.
part of the problem. But that's the problem's the wrong word. It's part of the issue, I should say.
Yeah, I don't think Attorney General Ellison, like I said, really understood the implications of what he was saying.
What are the implications in Minnesota?
It's going to crush our industry because, yes, we may have an intrastate market moving forward, but my friends in the hemp space were making money because it was interstate commerce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was keeping the lights on for a lot of our microbreweries, which turned into co-packers of THC beverages.
Yeah, Minnesota's been a real leader in building a supply chain that's been serving the rest of the country.
Fucking Target.
Right.
Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. And, I've had state legislators in Minnesota call me and say, how can I help? And I say, get elected to Congress. There's not much you can do from
there's not
here,
much to
right?
do otherwise.
You got to handle it in DC. There's nothing you can do at the state level to turn the interstate commerce switch back on. So,
right.
And I think, 2018 Farm Bill, I don't think Congress really knew they were legalizing intoxicating hemp, right? But you're going to go back.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Now you want to open it up again? Now everyone has eyes wide open. You're essentially asking Congress to legalize marijuana if you want to do it now, right? And this Congress, I don't know if they're prepared to do that.
That's I always go back to, and I've written about this. I said it again recently. It's drugs, and drug policy is not rational, and so you're going to have to get 60 senators to agree to legalize drugs, and that's not impossible, even with low dose, but that's a barrier that makes this hard. Yeah. And but I agree, and I think that it's the challenge of with deciding to sign that letter is drug policy versus economics, the economic reality of that, but it also creates an opportunity that one of the challenges for the hemp industry that they've had is that it's hard to build a long-lasting, sustainable, serious industry on a loophole. Yeah. And bring in serious long-term permanent capital and be considered like any other true CPG. In the long run, you need in a way, maybe this is an opportunity. I don't know what the solution is, and this is is it whole plant? I don't know, but yeah, get it right from the start, and build something that then is reliable, and can then actually support these businesses and do it the way that they can then rely on. I know.
I would love. I mean,
theoretically,
you've been talking about these things all week. Have you heard any solutions?
Yep.
I've heard lots of ideas. They all seem a little too creative.
It's hard. I think it's, yeah.
I think our only shot is a moonshot from President Trump, some executive order as the midterms are approaching. But that to rely on that seems risky.
Yeah. To me, I think it's you have to find a way to get the alcohol producers to, they don't need to necessarily support it, but find a way to say we're gonna be on the even playing field. You know, it's not just age gating, it's trade practice, it's labeling, it's marketing. We're gonna, you know, we're not gonna put, you know, this in energy drinks anymore because the alcohol industry can't do that. You know, things like that. We're willing to at least play on the same level playing field. At least then alcohol may be willing to step back slightly. But you still have to then convince.
Still to get Congress to do something.
Well, that's the thing is then you got to get Congress to be willing to take that political leap of legalizing, a psychoactive psychotropic product. And,
you know, if the rumors are true, if the alcohol industry really was behind this push to close the loophole, okay, maybe they won the battle, but they're still going to lose the war, right? Everyone knows younger people aren't drinking alcohol like other generations do. The future is THC. So eventually they're going to have to embrace this, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you kick the can a little bit, but we're coming back in some way.
Jason, we talked about Minnesota. We talked about hemp related to Minnesota. You are actually from Wisconsin.
I am.
You are from Milwaukee.
I am.
And you spend time there. What is the status of a state with nothing?
Oh, you know, I'm really excited. No one believes me, but we have a very good shot at passing a medical cannabis bill in Wisconsin soon, maybe as soon as February. The dynamics are changing in Wisconsin. Historically, it has been one of the most gerrymandered states in the country. There's a Democratic governor, but vast majority controlled by the Republicans in the legislature. But for various reasons, the legislative maps are getting redrawn. And it's getting more competitive. And so that means that the GOP is taking a harder look at medical cannabis. I mean, the polling, you know, it's off the charts, right? I think it's in excess of 80%, right? And so Wisconsin is surrounded by states now, Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, that have all legalized cannabis. So it's there. And medical cannabis, obviously, is a great first step, you know, help patients who are suffering. We have plenty of people ready to testify about how their lives are negatively impacted because they don't have access to medical cannabis. And plenty of Wisconsin state senators, frankly, are ready to do this. That the Wisconsin Assembly is the harder part, but we have a pretty sophisticated lobbying group with the Wisconsin Wellness Campaign, which is comprised, this may surprise you, by a lot of Native American tribes in Wisconsin who would love to see the ability to have medical cannabis programs on their tribal lands because they have problems with opioids and alcohol addiction, and medical cannabis can help with that too.
And is there no voter initiative process in
There is not.
Wisconsin? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I never realized that there weren't voter initiative
That's 'cause you're in
processes
California.
in some states
Yeah.
until I started paying attention to cannabis legalization. I
Right.
kept thinking, well, if everyone wants it, why can't we have it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
Minnesota
more
didn't either,
complicated.
and
Yeah.
so we needed the electoral politics to line up, and Wisconsin. So you know, all the states that legalize adult use cannabis, not all of them, but I think the vast majority did it through voter initiative.
Yeah.
If you put the question to the people are going to say yes.
Yeah.
Moving the legislators is harder.
Right.
Which is like what's been happening in Pennsylvania. It's just like a never-ending cycle
Yeah.
of legislative paralysis or infighting.
Because they have to play to their base to get voted, you know, to
But
win
it
their primaries.
it
And
can
that's
be a
that's
shortcut.
bigger challenge. Yeah.
Like what you're saying is that it could happen in February. It's December now.
Yeah.
That's nice and quick.
I'm very encouraged.
Cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can we maybe if you can get like, you know, old style to say we're going to do an infused old style. That would rally to support.
Lyman Kugel?
Well, it's funny, you know,
Yeah,
the
or
Tavern
like
League in
Milwaukee's
Wisconsin
Beast.
The Tavern League.
is super powerful.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that the Tavern League at least would remain neutral on this, I thought, oh,
It's a big deal. Yeah.
okay, here we go. Again, they're looking at the numbers and they realize the future is cannabis.
Yeah.
It's really
Makes
called the
sense.
Tavern League.
Yes.
Sounds like a men's softball league that you play in the summer. Oh, you play in the Tavern League?
That too.
Yeah, totally.
What going back to the rollout of licensed cannabis in Minnesota, I mean, it's both disappointing yet completely unsurprising to hear that you've got sort of rollout with lack of supply, and which mean and so you're going to have this again, the sort of the supply demand curve or whatever are going to be completely messed up, and then likely I'm guessing what'll happen, because it happens everywhere else, is then there'll be too much expansion too quickly, too much oversupply, prices will crash, and so is the space, is the industry there trying to figure out how do we prevent the same problem from happening that's happened in like nearly every other state?
Is the industry?
Okay, maybe
No,
that's
they-
wrong.
They're trying to launch.
Well, okay.
I meant that as a
No.
serious question, but I recognize the folly of
So
the question.
I spoke on a panel at MJBiz yesterday, so I'm sorry if you attended that and you have to listen to me say the same thing. But we drafted the Minnesota bill to keep, the legislators drafted the legalization bill with very low canopies to keep MSOs out. And I think that has succeeded to a large degree. So yes, you're right about everything you said, but to the extent there will be a vast oversupply, I think it'll be stunted a bit by those canopy limits. Like the biggest cultivation license gives you 30,000 square feet.
Oh my
of
God.
canopy.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
It's actually a perfect amount of canopy, in my opinion, 30,000 square feet to create a robust market. So I think that you make a really interesting point, and that it could be a healthy market with less price compression too, if it is smaller operators. But there's a lot of licenses given out with those 30,000 square feet even. And
Well, actually, there are, not to disagree, but there are relatively few. There are maybe only a few dozen of those. And I don't think many of those were operationalized.
that's the hardest part.
We do have 1,000 micro business licenses floating around.
Oh, wow.
That's a vertically integrated license type. That's 5,000 square feet of canopy. I mean, we're relying on the little guys to band together. You needed $500 and a pulse to get that license. And a lot of those folks thought, once I get the license, the investment money will find me.
Yeah.
How's that working out?
That's
That is not happening.
You don't say.
So I think sort of our more sophisticated operators who are already capitalized will use those micro business licenses to grow, but we need a lot of them, right? To meet the demand.
interesting.
Can you stack licenses?
You're not supposed to.
But can you?
There are creative solutions.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys realize how expensive it is to build and pay for a 30,000 square foot grow? I mean, that's still like more than $5 million.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of situations where there might be a very big facility and you have different
Condos.
suites, different suite numbers with micro business canopies.
That's what they wanted to do in Nelson, BC. Take all these legacy growers, put them in like a condo of a grow facility. Like, they each get their own cabinets, because that's where all the sweet weed is grown in BC. I don't think they ever did it, though. It's a good idea.
I think it's both smart, but also not smart, because I think that these are things that just point to the complexity of a lot of regulation.
Yes.
Right.
And what it does to create this just inherently inefficient business models.
That was the word I had in my head. Inefficient.
That are kind of designed for not optimal business environments, but designed to create opportunity and fairness. But when you put caps on things like canopy, you're also capping fairness. You're capping opportunity of how much opportunity there can ever be. So you can only get so much cannabis out of 5,000 square feet. And while this isn't the same as some of the social equity programs that we've seen have failures in other places, I do think that when you have too small of caps, what you're doing is kind of giving somebody golden handcuffs. Like, it at first seems like, oh, this is great. I got this license. I can I can go grow cannabis in Minnesota now, but you might not ever be able to grow enough cannabis to be able to hire enough staff
Right.
to actually be able to support your business at the levels. You're just always going to be hamstrung.
Yep.
Like you can't have a true executive team. You could maybe have a general manager, but
Right.
you're not ever going to be able to hire a CFO, or you just can't reach the scale to have the basic internal business functions. So I don't know what the longevity of that is.
We'll see.
Yeah. Let's hope
If they launch, then we'll know.
Flexible.
Just kidding, Jason. Jason, one more thing before we let you go and bring on Rick and Jeremy, who's here. We talked about it on our Friday show a couple weeks ago. In Minnesota, a city is opening up their own dispensary. Yeah, that's cool.
That's right. There will be many cities.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
They look at it
Municipal
as
stores.
they can control where it goes, or they may make money. Like, what is the driving force?
That is, so we have several unique features of our legalization bill. One of which is allowing cities to operate their own dispensaries. I don't think that exists anywhere else in the country. I think there were experiments with this in the past. I've heard it happen in Canada here and there, but I think we're going to have potentially dozens of.
Really?
Those. We have municipal liquor stores.
Oh, wow.
And so the municipal cannabis store is like the answer to that. And it's not always the cities you'd think. They're going to be, I think, smaller towns, rural areas.
They wouldn't get one otherwise.
Well, yeah, you're going to make money doing it, right?
Right.
You're going to be the only game in town, possibly. And it's really interesting. You know, I will say, talking about supply, I think a lot of folks in Minnesota thought our tribal nations would come to the rescue because we have this unique feature which allows them to not only grow on tribal land, but sort of participate in the off-tribal cannabis business as well. But they've been having their own problems. You know, they're new to cannabis too, and they just haven't been able to fill the gap, unfortunately.
Love that.
What are you excited about for 2026?
Well, like I said, it'll be the true launch, and I'm optimistic. You know, we have lots of very eager entrepreneurs, and unfortunately, we all know that entrepreneurs in any business, most of them fail, and I'm sure we're going to see lots of failures. But we have many people who I think are going to do it right. So I'm really hoping I come back next year and I can talk about how great the market is. But I'm an optimist, and even as I say that, I think, oh boy, I hope I'm right.
I hope you're right.
Hearing yourself say it, you.
As it was coming out of my mouth, it's like nothing has been smooth so far, but I really hope we get it rolling this year.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us here today, Jason Tarasek. Everybody seems to be on their way to the airport. Everybody's coming in with their bags. I like that, and so I know you're on your way out. Thank you so much, and we'll see you. Well, we'll see you before this, but
have a bagel as a parting gift.
yeah,
I will. Thank you.
Grab a smear.
Bye.
Thanks for the chat.
Bye, Jason. Thank you so
Good
much.
to see you.
Oh. See, we started talking about height, and
Is he okay?
Yeah,
You
he's okay.
Put that there.
Ooh.
I know.
You see,
Us
short people don't.
we're not going to
have
take a
that
break,
problem.
but Jeremy, you're going to come sit down. Rick, you're going to come sit down. You guys talk for a second. I'm going to use the washroom.
Are we still live?
You're still live.
Okay, great.
But
Don't take your mic in there, would you?
Yes.
I took the mic.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're gonna go with the backwards hat.
It's my travel fit.
Travel
Yeah.
fit. Okay.
So going casual.
We were on a call
How was your
like 3
MJ
years ago when
Busy.
Yeah.
Busy, but busy in a
Nice to
good
meet
way.
you too. Appreciate all the work
I
you
thought the
keep
conference
an
was
eye
a
on
little
Minnesota
sparse.
for little alerts
Yeah.
too. So
But it's still very good to see everyone. I mean, yesterday was like my wall to wall meetings day. So, it's good to see everyone. I think
great.
at the end of the day, but not a lot of heartwarming conversations about the industry. I would say that's
expand on that a little bit. I mean, because you're hearing it also from a different perspective too. People will say things to you as a reporter differently than you might to a competitor.
Yes. So very good point. I deliberately did yesterday not doing formal interviews because it changes the way people talk to you, and so I wanted to try and figure out what everyone was thinking about. The industry is very capital starved. Like everyone talked to me about some specific challenge that they had that was very reminiscent of all the other challenges that I heard about that same day. So yeah, I think it's just a very, very challenging time for operators. Very, very challenging. And when you do a formal interview, you hear the highlights, right? And so when I can talk person to person, it's a little bit more effective, I find.
Did you stumble into any stories that you're excited to start working on following?
A couple.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that
Yeah.
live, but
Hot
yes,
scoop.
yes, more. I mean, not necessarily tips, but more trends and things that will be top of mind for January and February.
Cool.
That's great.
So hot news, hot takes.
Yeah,
coming from
I
Cultivated.
did get a lot of hot tips. I think about 80% of those never pan out. So I try not to get too excited. When I was 25, I got really excited every time I saw a tip, but not so much anymore. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some hot tips I'll share with you off air.
Nice.
you can share with me right after this. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we're all back.
Hey, everybody.
Rick Bashkoff, Jay Rosenthal, AnnaRae Grabstein, Marc Hauser, Jeremy Berke. Do you know everybody here? Now you know.
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Marc.
we haven't met.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, now
nice
you
to
know
meet you,
Marc.
man.
He writes Cannabis Musings.
Oh, I read Marc.
Oh,
Thank
there you
you.
go.
Good to see you, Rick.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Anna. Pleasure.
Rick, I saw you holding court at the Cosmo.
Who was it?
Who was
I know,
Did
but Rick
anyone
really
not
had
hold court at
Rick really had an audience.
That's a lot of courts.
What are you seeing at the show? Question mark.
Much more intention. I mean, everyone's here for like 2 or 3 reasons, and they're ready to tell you.
Yeah.
I think previous.
That was annoying, actually.
I actually appreciate that perspective, but it's actually been quite refreshing because the answer is usually like, well, I got to be here.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like never really good enough because these are operators.
Right.
So I always think of like, okay, you're here. What'd you give up to come here?
Right.
And so I think this year it's like we're meeting with new suppliers. We have meetings on Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to walk the floor Thursday afternoon, and then we're all out. Right. It's like there's a lot of people who have like these 48-hour windows that they're coming in for and are pretty tactical. Floor's dead, but I don't think that. I think there's a couple of things to that, though. I don't think the whole story is just looking at how crowded it is because it's a much larger space.
Yeah.
They really busted it out. And I think that, look, I think it's a different time for cannabis. I'm sure most of the folks that you're talking to is like, I think booths are, unless I've seen some really successful stuff with like straight up buyers clubs type things, right? The original Hall of Flowers, which is like my favorite show for years, right? Was like, I was there always as an ancillary or an investor, but like just being able to be a fly on the wall and just listening to buyer seller discussions was beyond the value of being there, right? Here at like this much more big banging show, I think that this industry is going to have to start either progressing by changing the location, changing the time of year, changing the focus, having like a specific focus each year. But all that being said, I think that, I liken it to a little bit of how I think about Benzinga in that like everyone's coming there for an intention. And for a while it was Capital, right? It was the Benzinga Capital Conference. And I know it's Ignite It now, right? But the last like 2 years that I've been there, the reasons that people are showing up probably by the need are starting to get a little bit more dynamic. I'm here to talk strategic partnerships. We're thinking about selling off 3 of our locations. So we have a couple people here. We're expanding into this state. And so I think that we're kind of maturing as an industry from less of the flash, right? And more of the substance when it comes to events.
Well, so you're not here like you were at Hall of Flowers as an investor. You're now here as an operator with Little Alert.
I'm just here to tell Jeremy good news.
I want to hear it.
That sounds good. And are you in the club of coming here with 2 to 3 things that you're here to do? And
Definitely.
what were those things? What are those things?
Yeah, so a couple things. So we kind of view events as much more meaningful to spend time with existing customers as opposed to net new business. The net new business conversations here are quite noisy. So we find value in really focusing in on our existing customers. So we get to have dinner, we get to talk with them at the booth for 30, 45 minutes sometimes. And honestly, it's more valuable to me than half of the time, no offense to everyone I'm on the video calls with, but like it's so much more valuable to just sit down for 30 minutes. And for us as software company, we're problem solvers. So I don't really have much of an agenda. Like we don't have this like big banging suite of features that we're selling everyone constantly. We have the luxury that we sell one product. And so it's really nice to be able to just sit down and be like, what's going on with you? What's your biggest problem right now?
not to get too corny, but like, what are you excited about? What are you not excited about? Like, and of course I'll throw in like, are we taking care of you? But like, we're really focused on existing customers. So we set up a lot of those meetings here. Secondarily for us, and that's what I'll be doing the rest of the day. I'm actually not flying out today. I'm just moving hotels.
Oh, wow.
But
Sounds terrible.
I'm actually, well, not too bad, because MJBiz was nice enough to have me speak, and they put me up. So
Oh, you got
which
the
is
free
very
hotel.
nice.
Now you're
Oh,
going.
yes.
Wow.
And so which I very, very much appreciated. And so tonight I'm actually here. Myself and the co-founders are here. So today, my MJBiz is over after this discussion. I'm going with them. We're locking ourselves in a suite to plan 2026.
Nice.
And so we'll fly out tomorrow morning. So those are my 2 or 3.
Awesome.
For our viewers that aren't really familiar with you or your business, can you just take a minute and talk about what y'all do?
Sure, yeah. So very straightforward. We're a data tool for cannabis operators. So that is just about everyone across the supply chain. We have brands, wholesalers, distributors, manufacturers, processors, retailers. We actually do have, which I would love to say that we thought that we were going to have all these types of customers. We really thought we were only building for brands and wholesalers. We do have some ancillary companies now that use our tool as almost like a prospecting tool, right? And so the way that we source data is we do it through sourcing publicly available information on retailers' websites, typically their shop or menu page. Now, once we view that, observe that information, that data, that raw data, goes through a few different layers of what we loosely call a predictive engine. It's just our talk for a bunch of algorithms that stare at this data all day and are specifically looking for the changes in that data. Those observations of the changes in the data then get put through another set of logic, and the output of that is a meaningful raw data set of events, pricing changes, new products on demand, all this millions and millions of rows of raw data. And so that's the backbone, is creating an optimized data set. And then what we sell is just a couple of very simple UIs that you can access that tool with a very, very heavy focus on decision making. So that was the white space that we tried to fill, was the data platforms that we compete against and came before us, which we respect all of them, much tougher times to build way back when. The tools that we have available to build today are nothing compared to what Headset and BDSA had 10 years ago. So much respect to them. Those tools are very, very powerful. It can be a little challenging for your account manager, your brand ambassador, your inventory manager, your buyer, your GM or your owner with 1 or 2 locations. Like, those data tools can be a little heavy. Not a lot of data analysts in cannabis, right? And so like, we've built some very, very simple interfaces that what we call the operators, the people on the ground, use.
Rick, let me ask you this. We've Cultivated readers know we've partnered with you guys. We've ran your data every Tuesday for the past few months. Readers love it. When you're sitting down and your team is sitting down to help put those together for us, how do you decide in this grand world of cannabis data? Like, how do you decide what's interesting, what our readers should know about?
Yeah, there's a calendar, right? In terms of the seasonality of the industry, people want to hear about Green Wednesday right now. I don't really love talking about those things, but I think that those types of data stories were a little more exciting maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, right? But I think that even when you talk to the average retailer, like, Green Wednesday is part of the routine now, right? There's really not, it's routine, right? And so you see these little trends pop up here and there, and they're interesting to read. But I don't know how much action there is that comes from those, right? So what I try and do when I sit down is, we're looking at the calendar. We're also we're constantly doing analysis, either for our customers or because we're trying to problem solve something within our own tech stack, right? And so a lot of the time, I'll just earmark a couple of those things. That's a good thing for cultivated media.
Yeah.
So some of it is kind of organic, and other times, I'm rarely staring at a blank screen, because our whole team is like nutty about this stuff. We find a lot of this stuff just super interesting. And so, I go through, but I do really I try and think about the calendar, because that really does drive, that's what gets people to kind of stop and click. So, yeah.
You said that the data that you share helps people make decisions.
Yeah.
And I want to dive into that. I think decisions are challenging, hard to
Super
make.
hard.
So how do you make decisions with data? What's an example of something that someone could be doing with your data?
Yeah, sure. So I think that, you know, if you're an account manager in, like, let's say a state like New York, right? You just inherited account territory, got 150 locations, right? You can spend the next 2 weeks going to every one of those locations' websites and looking at what products they have and how they price and all those things, right? You can enter it in a Google spreadsheet and do your own data collection and then try and sift through all these lines of data. Or you can subscribe to Lit Alerts, and in a matter of moments, you can get a really good sense of what products the stores that you're responsible for carry, how they price, how your competitors sell through at those stores, as well as just getting a very broad sense of who are those brands that I'm gunning for, right? Like a lot of the, especially if you're representing a new brand or even in the middle of the pack, like understanding within your category, and probably you want to understand in your subcategory, like who are your 2 or 3 closest competitors? I mean, if you're an edibles brand, you're not really a competitor with every single edibles brand on the market, right? You're a gummy, or, you know, you've sold, like there's a great brand in New York, Eaton Botanicals, that I'll give a shout out to. They've done a wonderful job of building a brand story. And so that's a perfect example of a customer that can log in and very quickly gain share by seeing where they are, where they're not. And in those stores that I'm not in, very quickly compare, like, okay, I'm not in 10 stores. Who should I focus on next week? Which 3 should I call next week, right? And so the interface is what the original co-founders of the company really felt was the white space that we could fill. So more decision making, like on the wholesale side, just straight up high level competitive analysis in minutes, right? And I'm talking like I'm sitting in the parking lot. I have a meeting with a buyer. I've been running all day. I mean, like I just drove for 3.5 hours, right? I'm in the parking lot, and I need to know right now an answer to my question, because it's the one thing that I didn't have time to look at before I left, right? So I need to understand how Garden Greens is priced at this store for eighths. And I go boop, boop, boop. And in 3 minutes, I go, okay, they're at this price. I now have that information for me. And I'm out. Like the average, this is one of my favorite stats about our software, average time spent 13 minutes. Right. And so, we track the actual events that are happening. And like most of those sessions are driving to an export. There's a couple of different ways that we can look at the URLs and just kind of like time spent, understanding how, like what kind of elements of the page that they're clicking on. But this is a pocket tool, right? Because the unique insight that the co-founders had was the data tools that are out there are very powerful, again, but they don't move fast enough. I need my answers right now. I have 5 minutes to look at data. I cannot sit here all day and sift through stuff, right? So those are some examples of, but like on the retail side, it's great. It's like 3 use cases: spying on my competitors, what are they carrying, what pricing, right? Validating vendor pitches. Everyone's got the best flower, sell through at premium prices. I'm in 100 locations, right? Now I have this pocket tool where I go, oh wait, he's at 98 locations, telling the truth. Let's keep talking with these guys, right? And then the last use case on the retail side that we see a lot of, and this is particularly in some of the growth markets, is where do I open my next location? In our tool, you can go in our analytics screen, filter by a group of counties, a zip code plus radius, and very quickly you're looking at what brands sell, what retail stores are performing, what's an average sell-through rate look like. So, those are some of the other decision-making, aspects of the tool.
What are you seeing as? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
What do you see from your perspective as the challenges for the industry, going forward, and your customers, other than getting paid?
Yeah. It's a challenge for everyone.
Yes, that's everybody's challenge.
One of our customers posted a post that I think really resonates with a lot of people. Is like, this is the week where you get to go see someone do a big, display on the floor of MJBiz when they owe you $100,000, right? But look, I think biggest challenge is, look, I think we're living through the last ditch effort era of prohibition, right? Like the most recent hemp ban, or whatever you want to it's not a hemp ban, it's whatever you want to call it. What's going on in Massachusetts? Doctors having the ability to prescribe taken away for veterans. I mean, it's like we're living through this like last push of, we're going to try and push out a lot of headlines that say maybe we made a mistake. And I feel very strongly that most of this will be defeated, but it's unsettling, right? And so I think that, for someone like myself, who's kind of sat on the sideline for advocacy because it was convenient, it's not my strong suit. I'm a bit of a loudmouth, so maybe at times, like, I didn't think I was like the right person to be in the room. I think it's time for us all to get over that. I think we all got to participate now, because like, if we get past this last push, I do kind of, I should probably stop predicting, right? But I feel like if we get over this, I mean, these are, to me, these are like, we're grasping at straws here now. Like, we're really like looking for reasons to peel this thing back. And, we just need some of the old fogies to just move on with their lives and focus on something else. And I think that's the time, and there's and it's true. I mean, like, I battle this even in my own personal circles, right? When I have conversations with people, and I've had some really rewarding, I got a guy on my block who didn't like me when I moved in because I smoke weed.
And he knew that from being on your block.
Of course.
Out in the studio or whatever.
Yeah, I got kids. I can't smoke inside. So anyway, so he wasn't really a big fan of me. And Irish guy, big drinker. And I just saw him at a restaurant the other day. He had stopped drinking because of health problems, and he eats edibles.
Good for him.
So, and I've had a lot of these things. My wife and I bought our house that we currently live in. The real estate agent was an absolute delight to work with. And so, not unlike you might say, like, hey, can we get you a gift basket? Or what's your favorite drink? A total common question, right? So I'm like, hey, you got a favorite drink, or can I get you some cannabis or something like that? And the guy looked at me like I was nuts, right? And he's like, what do you mean cannabis? And I'm like, dude, it's 2021. Like, what do you mean? Like, And so I give it to him, and the next like 2 or 3, real estate agent keeps in touch, how's everything going, And so, like, he's sending me all these, like, Jimi Hendrix references. We got really lit last night and all this horse shit. Sorry but
you can play.
I see him, it's a true story. I see him in the hardware store in town like 6 months later, and he pulls me aside and he's like, I got level with you, man. I wasn't using those to party. I have severe pain in my feet. I've been battling this for 15 years. And I have to tell you, man, the gummies that you gave me, I had the first good night's sleep in 10 years. That's what I've been using it for.
That's amazing.
And it's, I get these stories constantly, and it's a good reminder for me that, like, look, like, I read the headlines, I get pissed off about them too. Like Sabat and his crew, spilling
Jeremy's
some
best friend.
He's my nemesis these days.
Yeah, good.
Twitter nemesis.
Good nemesis to have, I think you share that with a lot of people. Another headline out there. Like, I get pretty worked up as well, but I think about those kinds of things and just reminding myself that, like, there's a lot of people getting a lot of use out of this. Adults should be able to make their own choices. Can I go on a rant for a second about something else? So, like,
is it about Vegas?
Yeah, no. Here's my thing also about, like, the argument about harm to children, right? So I watch football every Sunday with my kids because they like it too. And I gotta be honest, like, the commercials that come up during an average NFL or any other type of sport. I mean, we watch baseball too in the playoffs. So, like, alcohol ad, right? Dad, what is that? Pretty easy to explain. They're adult beverages. We're at Uncle Perry's barbecue. We're all drinking it. Same thing. Adult beverages. Cool, Dad. Gambling. Yeah. Right. Next is a gambling ad. And you, Dad, what's that? And you go, Dad plays fantasy football, or it's an adult thing because it's super risky. You can lose a lot of money. Oh, okay, Dad, makes sense. The next ad is probably one of the most terrifying visuals I've ever seen in the new horror movie that's coming out, right? And so there's all of this, like, buildup about, like, what are our children seeing? And I'm sitting at it with a 3.5 and 7-year-old saying, like, man, a cannabis ad is one of the least things I'm concerned about. It's an easy thing to explain away. I've already done it with alcohol ads. But what is my kid upset about when he goes to sleep? The horror film that he saw. It's not the gambling, which is probably one of the biggest risks for him. I got 2 boys, boys, right? So for gambling is the biggest risk for these guys. And so I really think that, the concern for our children, like, with all due respect, like, we're living in a time of kind of limitless access.
This is way worse.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so you know, I think that is going to have that storyline of theirs has to specifically be attacked because it jigs out. And even like I think we've like kid ourselves on a lot of this stuff. Like let's talk about age gating, right? Like, are you kidding me? Like today, it's a yes or no checkbox.
Right.
Right.
If I'm 16 years old and I would be this kid, right? Like my
You do
mom,
math.
my mom's credit card was on the counter. I wrote down the numbers and everything, right? I know where I live.
Right.
So I go to the website, I click yes, I enter the information. I just got to make sure that my mom's not home when things get here, right? So like I think that we've convinced, and I'm not suggesting that age gating should be because it's a great deterrent, but I think that the kind of child use and all that as a like center point for prohibition is the weakest, but it's also the one that gets the most attention.
Yes.
And so I think that's the one we have to attack.
Well, but I mean, but the kids has been an excuse for any sorts of, relatively authoritarian crackdown through history. I thought you were going to even go simpler and say that, the football is worse for kids than cannabis. Like the head injuries, like it's just as simple as that. I think we catastrophize.
I mean, that's the punch.
These things,
At
right?
the end
Like
of all this, I'm watching football.
It's the premise of the Music Man.
Right. No, I mean, I did sports
Capital
as a kid
T
too.
rhymes with P, it stands for cool.
Right.
You are so right
Yeah.
about television, though.
No, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I go to Taco Tuesday and
Oh, yeah.
and sometimes like and there's all these TVs at the taqueria and if there's sports on, I'm like I'll let my kid. I'll be like, okay, we can sit where we can watch the TV because the sports is on. If the news is on, I've been like, I cannot like eat dinner and I don't want you looking at that while we eat because sometimes it's just like pictures of war and it is so disturbing and it's like this is
So here's another
so
quick thing
inappropriate
also.
and terrifying.
Sky Rizzy.
Yes, Sky Rizzy.
Like I swear, this country must be riddled with plaques of riots.
Well, that
The number of
is
Sky
the
Rizzy
thing.
ads.
The pharmaceutical ads. When I moved to the U.S.,
It's
I was
unbelievable.
I was not used to that. It's crazy. Like in Canada, they don't advertise pharmaceuticals. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like the ads can be far more disturbing also because a lot of the time they're watching on something like a YouTube, right? So I had to intervene at one point and say YouTube Kids is all the app that you guys can watch now, unless I'm in the room and I can oversee. So yeah, I think the kids thing is something we should really try and attack. I mean, like, and also like there's plenty of data that suggests that underage use is decreasing.
It goes down when it legalizes.
So Rick, you said that you really hadn't thought of yourself as an activist or an advocate. And I had a similar story. Like, I really thought of myself as an entrepreneur when I started my first cannabis business. And then it was through that feeling of feeling like I needed to protect this baby of my business that really sent me into learning about policy. And so it sounds like you're thinking about your 2026 plan. You're going to be meeting with your partners strategically. How are you thinking about engaging in policy in this next year?
I don't
in a
have an
different way
answer
than
for
you
you
have?
yet because I think I really just came to this realization in the last few weeks. And so I think I'm working through that process right now. I'm still a loudmouth, so I don't know if I'm the one who should be the talking piece because I do think that it's the same reason I don't work at a big corporation, right? Like my brother, big corporation guy, has been very successful, and a lot of that is he knows how to play the game. And I don't think I know how to play the game yet, but I'm good at math and I'm good at data. And so what I've been trying to do out of the gate is empowering those people with information that I have access to.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to participate.
So that's
in
the first way that I've thought of. But I don't know. I might go farther. I'll tell you, I participated in a few of the comment periods for New York regs, and I was kind of blown away at how difficult it is to thread the needle.
Yeah.
Even as I was making my own suggestions, I was like, well, that doesn't work for processors, right? Or that's going to create an awful situation at intake for retail or something, right? And so I don't think I'm the one who has the full view of a supply chain to really make those suggestions. I actually think operators are probably in the best position to do that because they're living and breathing this. So I'll probably, just try and, but also encourage others that are my peers in the data space to do the same. I think might be another good thing for me to do.
Yeah. It does seem like a theme I've heard a lot this week is, and it may just be the folks I'm talking to, but that advocacy, it's a realization that advocacy on all ends isn't working. The way the industry's approach advocacy is just, and there does, you know, one plants is probably whatever that even means is you know, is sort of the base, this sort of idea that everybody needs to be working together here, and having all these diverse groups, not just, you know, not just hemp versus non-hemp, but also within, you know, we've cut it up so many different ways, and none of that's working. And it's just a full-on press, you know, towards one goal, you know, is the only way that this is going to work out. Because otherwise, all this is just, we're continuing to spin our wheels.
I think that what just happened with the bill that went through that changed the game for hemp, I think we've probably learned that we don't understand the game as much as we thought we did, right?
Right.
That's exactly
and I think
That's a
that,
good way to
like,
put it.
yeah.
and I think that again, I don't know all of the details, right? But one story that has been suggested is, you know, Bourbon Lobby calls Mitch and is like, you really want to be, you know, known for legalizing gas station weed, right? If that's really what pushed this thing through, you know, and I think the people who are in the rooms should think about how we lobby and how we raise money. I know raise money is a funny thing in this industry, but, like, you know, unfortunately, our government's coin operated, and, you know, there's going to come a time where you know, the right players are going to have to make the right moves. And look, I mean, even as I say that, I think about, you know, the MSOs who have contributed large sums of money to these types of efforts, and even you know, single state operators, and even the mom and pops who've contributed. And so I think you know, I'm not sure if, I think it's really, we don't understand the game, and we don't have the right players who have the ears of the people who actually can push these things through. But again, I do need to disclaim, I'm really not in the inner circle on those conversations.
You'll get you there.
What's that?
You'll get there. It's a big year.
I don't think you need to be on the inner circle. I think it's just about participating. And I
There's a
think
lot
that
of
matters.
disparate concentric
Yeah.
circles,
Yeah,
I think.
that's
So
exactly
that's
that's the
Yeah.
that's the key challenge.
How many
Rick?
trade groups are there in this
Right.
industry?
That's right.
Well,
You
fewer than
know,
it used to be, but
versus-
probably too many.
Yeah.
Still.
Probably.
Rick, thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
making
thank you
time.
for
It's good to
having
see you
me.
out and about.
Yes.
I'm glad you had a successful show. Safe travels back, but not today.
Yes.
Sometime over the weekend. And good to see you. We'll see you back on the East Coast.
Looking forward to
Great.
it.
Thanks, man.
Good to
Thanks
see you
pretty
all.
well.
Thanks, Rick.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Good to meet you. Jeremy.
We have one last guest coming
Always a
on.
pleasure.
Yeah. Have a bagel
Chris,
on your way.
Chris, you're going to take your mic from Rick.
Jay, I got right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jeremy's going to go.
Are there
And then-
two?
Two, Mike.
No, bathroom?
Oh, there's two bathrooms. Yeah,
There
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Are you leaving? You're just going to the washroom.
No, but yeah,
You
my
go
flight,
to the airport.
my flight leaves in an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, Chris, you're our last.
See you, man.
You're our
Okay,
last
Great to
guy.
see you,
All
Mike.
right.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And
good to see you.
as soon as this is done, we're all going to. Chris,
take a bagel.
Jay,
and
nice to
I'll
meet you in
get
person.
it.
Yeah,
I'll do it. I got it.
How you doing?
Hi,
Jeremy. Good seeing you.
All right. Good to see you. Jay.
we'll see you
I'll see
later.
you. Yeah,
Bye bye.
Mark, it's been a while.
Yeah.
We're due for another coffee. I gotta
love
make
it.
it down to your neighborhood.
Where are you based?
Santa Rosa.
Nice. Oh, like down
I
the
think
street.
Mark's down,
Sure.
just down the road.
20
from
minutes
us.
away.
Yeah. Well, as we wait for AnnaRae to come back, you are Chris Emerson from Level. I'm Jay Rosenthal, Marc Hauser, for those that are joining us midway through. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
You're our last guest.
All right. Well, hopefully there's
It's like
still
you're
people
standing in the way.
watching.
You're standing between me and the airport right now.
Okay. All right.
But give us a little bit of the footprint of Level, because when we say you were coming on, there was more than one person that was like, "Oh, Chris is awesome."
Okay. Wow.
That really happened last night. It's true.
Yeah, footprint of Level. You know, we've been operating in the regulated market for better part of 10 years. The thesis of the company is around effects-based or targeted effects from cannabis formulations from emergent cannabinoids not accessible from the plant alone. So combinations of acidics, neutrals, enzyme, non-degradative or degradative enzymatic byproducts, things like that, right? So like CBN, THCV with acidics and neutrals. So that was the thesis of the company. And then
You're a scientist.
I am a scientist.
Yes.
PhD in small molecule chemistry.
Yes.
So that's, I think really influenced
If it wasn't clear,
how
the first couple sentences, it is now.
how we went about this.
Dumb it down for us.
Yeah. And then, we just really focus on, hey, AnnaRae, on a solid oral dosage form. So sublingual and tablets, right? that
A
you can
solid
swallow.
Doro.
Solid oral dosage
Oh,
form.
solid.
Yeah. Just a
I
tablet.
thought you got it. Okay.
Yeah. So,
I'm
yeah,
not-
that's
I'm not
what
sensitive.
we've been focusing on for the past 10 years, like that. And that's our entire focus. Like,
Why was that the focus?
Well, I
Was,
never.
was it a gap in the market? Was it something you felt like? What was the?
Well, it's an amazing delivery vehicle, right? It's one of the reasons why pharma nutraceutical supplements, 60% of all of them are in this form factor. Once you have manufacturing down, it's very, very efficient. Plus, back in 2016, 17, when we were developing this, trying to put THCV in a cart, it was like a $500 cart.
Right.
But the effect wasn't interesting enough to, I think, get really widespread adoption. The supply chain wasn't mature enough to really support it. So, and I never really wanted to be in inhalables or traditional ingestibles. I wanted to have a very clean, simple, minimal ingredient product that was consistent, effective, standardized, and this was the way to do it.
I have to, first of all, really good to see you.
Good seeing you.
We got
Yeah.
to hang out at the airport
That's
on the way to
Nice.
Vegas, and you know, you are outnumbered. You've got
I know.
3 out of 4 of us live in Sonoma County,
That's
right.
Northern
That's
California
yeah.
right now. So
I used to live in the Bay Area, but
this
not
is like a serious Sonoma County panel right now. But Chris, I have to give you credit for introducing me to some minor cannabinoids for the first time. I had never tried some of the different letters of cannabinoids before, and you were creating these really different, unique products that I had never seen before. And what's come from that now is a lot of people, I think, that have followed behind, often in the kind of synthetic and conversion spaces of taking CBD isolate and creating Delta 8. Like, you had a Delta 8 product inside the legal cannabis regulated market. I'm curious of just what you have learned about bringing minor cannabinoids to consumers for the first time when nobody had ever heard of these things. Like, do people just try cannabinoids that they don't know what they are? Or is there some level of education? Like, I was a little like, what is this going to do to me? I didn't know. And I work in the industry.
Right.
So what has that been like?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, yes, education, which is can be very challenging. It's a high touch industry. Tends to be a lot of turnover within retail. You have to educate, train staff, bud tenders, they're the gatekeepers still. And we run really lean as an organization, always have. So it's always been a big challenge. And, you know, we started putting, THCV on the market in 2017, CBG. We came out with Delta 8, which it's very unfortunate. It's a little side tangent, but it's very unfortunate because Delta 8 is actually an amazing cannabinoid, and it has some very, very powerful therapeutic benefits, especially, you know, anti-emesis, or, you know, helping to calm stomachs and things like that, mitigate pain, and I love having it in formulations because it really helps complement. But we've had to remove it all since, you know, it blew up on the hemp scene in the unregulated space, because the insurers were going to the retailers saying, you can't have this in there, even though it was allowed by law. So, you know, it's kind of an unfortunate byproduct of everything that's happened. But getting them to market, you know, we did them in low dose first, you know, like a 3 milligram sublingual, because we're kind of experimenting in real time. And although these compounds, you know, are naturally occurring and have been in the plant, humans have been consuming them in minor ratios for thousands of years. We haven't really looked at them in a purified sense and what that could do. So, you know, we thought about it a lot, and, you know, looked at, you know, like thresholds of toxicological concern, and tried to use best practice from pharma to, okay, what could we put on the market and feel we're still doing it ethically and morally, but we're still trying to push the space. And so, you know, all of those things kind of coalesced, and we were out there for years before finally some of the larger ingestible companies finally came out. When CBN really started coming out, then other people were jumping into the emergent cannabinoid space a lot.
Aside from THC, what are the most popular cannabinoids that consumers?
I mean, CBD,
like,
obviously.
Oh, okay, yeah. Of the ones that people really know, like, what are some of the other ones?
So CBN, THCV, you know, CBG has a very, very strong following. And I think when people discover it and understand how amazing it actually is, I think for to really help with calming, right? It's really good stress relief. It can help with people who suffer from anxiety or high stress situations. And like anything in cannabis, it's not a silver bullet. It's not going to solve your problems, but it takes the edge off to give you the ability then to make a behavioral change, or take the time you need, or change your diet, or do these things, right? And so it's one of the things I love about cannabis. And then all these other cannabinoids that have these somewhat nuanced effects, but I think, you know, dosed properly in the right delivery vehicles, you know, they can have profound impact for human health.
It's wild. It seems like the anti-nausea is perfect for the rise of GLP-1s. which one of the major side effects is nausea.
Okay.
And with the ontake of those, maybe you mix your GLP-1, you titrate in some, you put in some
throw it in there,
PG and then neutralize it. I like that. Where is then the challenge for? I mean, what I've always found neat about your company is you are really making something different. In an industry where there's an ocean of flower, there's an ocean of other edibles. But what I like is that it is it's about as discreet as possible. Yeah. And it's easy. I mean, like tinctures in a way, but even more so than tincture because
the dosage
it's and it's and you don't even taste it. And so there is an ease to it that makes adoption very simple. But with that, where is the challenge? But also, is there an opportunity? Assuming that the hemp loophole closure does actually take effect in 340-ish days, or whatever, 330, to sort of step into that consumer base of like that has been trying this and wants to expand out.
You're getting your Delta 8 back.
Get your I'm just
kidding.
Yeah. So there were a few questions in there, Marc, that you had for me. And remind me of the first part.
Well, the first part was just my fakakta idea about adding
the DA to the GLP-1.
Yeah.
As a time release.
I mean, where do you see the challenge, but also is there an opportunity for from somewhat unique form factors such as yours?
Yes. I think, one of the things so we're really known for higher dose formulations. That's how we've built the company with Delta 9 in the regulated markets. I didn't get into this to get people high. We're very good at it. It's not hard, it's THC, but it keeps the lights on and then allows us to keep pushing in these other ways. I think we're a top 5 ingestible in California, but we don't make a gummy, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone else is all gummies. And so I think education of, hey, this isn't just, this product doesn't belong just in the wellness section. Like we should be sitting directly with gummies because that's where we operate. But a lot of times we get pigeonholed into wellness. And I think that challenges how much customer awareness we can get. So we have to be creative about really driving that awareness. That's one of the issues. I think when we first launched too, there was a significant amount of pushback. Like, we're not taking pills.
Right.
Like, this is a plant. We're not doing pills. You're like, yeah, it's the plant in a tablet, right? And it's one of the reasons why we are very diligent about talking about it as a tablet and not a pill. I think it's important, and we always have. So those are some challenges to overcome, especially in more mature markets. Now, when we look at emergent markets, New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania medical market, people get it. It's a lot, they don't have any qualms. I don't think they have all of the, historical cannabis culture that is influencing how they're viewing it. So there is a lot of opportunity that way. And then as far as the impending hemp ban, if it does come into effect as it's written, we should be able to navigate it pretty well, because our focus in the hemp DTC space is either very, very low amounts of THCA or no T at all. And so those formulations that we use a little bit of THCA, because it really has a big impact, I think, on the benefit of all formulations, we can easily remove those and they will still be very effective. And so, yeah, we're all going to see what's going to happen, right? It's going to be a nail biting 300 and some odd days to see what actually happens. And, I think there's going to definitely be fallouts in different ways, because, supply chain is going to get disrupted. How will our banking and credit card solutions be impacted by it? Even if there is actually now a federal statute that says, here is the explicit definition, I think we don't understand what's going to happen as we go out on the risk curve to keep pushing in it. So yes, I think a lot of opportunity, but again, a ton of unknowns. Mm-hmm. It's cannabis, hemp. Well, yeah.
That's the one known is the unknown.
Yeah, the unknown. You're bringing up an interesting point as you're kind of diving into this hemp discussion, that one of the things that the beverage space has been really loud about is how dispensaries aren't the right channel for beverages. And that's why they're really pushing to, whether it's a carve out or just an opportunity to be outside of the dispensary channel. And your form factor is similarly unique in that it's not the thing that people think of necessarily when they think about going to a dispensary to buy joints or vape carts. And in a utopian world, like where is the best channel for consumers to buy level products if you could start from scratch?
Yeah, I mean, I think Walgreens,
Yeah.
CVS, go to the pain aisle. You want Advil, Tylenol, or some cannabinoid formulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been the vision of the company. I think a lot of cannabis companies have this kind of like, vision too. But yeah, we can make a product that has a minimal impact on the environment. We can do it in ways that are, regenerative, that we essentially are leaving a smaller footprint than we're taking, and then do it in a way where we provide a plant-based solution for individuals that is actually, it's effective, it works. And in line with that, then yes, can we continue to push the science and really understand how this works, what it really works for, what doesn't work for it? That's another aspect that we are continually pushing on. We've run a couple of, IRB approved, blinded studies looking at cannabinoids for different impacts. We've run them on our own. We work with More Better. They have a really good real world data collection platform, and we're just finishing a sleep study with them. So all of these are important because it's, for one thing, to be like, yeah, we should just be on the shelf of everything, but we're not saying that. Understanding, hey, there is so much about cannabinoids and how it impacts physiology and different pathologies for humans that we really need to tease out. But we do know that there is a very inherent level of safety built in, because this is a plant that we have co-evolved with as a species for at least 10,000 years, but probably hundreds of thousands of years. Like, this is a plant ally for humans. So yeah, how do we coalesce all of that and do it in a way where we can have rigorous science that helps support it, and then, build consumer products that are effective and safe?
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, so you clearly have a pharma mindset. You understand that side of the world, even though that isn't where you're playing right now. And I wonder why you're not. I mean, I think that Epidiolex and Sativex, it's incredibly expensive to get through the FDA. I know that.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's the reason, and it's that simple. But these businesses on the other side of that highly expensive process also have been able to generate tremendous amounts of revenue. And I wonder if you have thought about it, if you're doing studies.
I don't think access to this medicine and this plant should be gated by, like, this should be freely accessible, and it should be affordable. And that's what I want. I don't want it gated behind, oh yeah, we know it's incredibly expensive to get an FDA monograph. Great.
Mhm.
Well, now we're going to overcharge for it.
No.
It's literally CBD from a plant, right?
Mhm.
Let's make it so we get widespread mass adoption, and we help drive the narrative forward. So yeah, I don't want it locked up somewhere. I want to make it accessible and have an impact on a huge cohort of the population. So that's why it's.
And I totally get that. But then, while you want to make it accessible, but the FDA path would make it more accessible in some ways from a legal perspective.
I mean,
right?
yeah, I just, it is not my world.
Yeah.
I only understand it a little bit. Yeah, the amount of time, resource, energy, politics that go into this. We're talking about compounds you can't patent because they're naturally occurring. So a lot of these companies now are, they're med chemming it, they're making derivatives, they're just trying to find something that'll work, that they can own that chemical space to push forward. I don't know. It's just not interesting to me.
Yeah. I'm just asking.
No, I really appreciate it. I think it's a very valid question.
Yeah.
No, I got asked the question yesterday by somebody asking about, why isn't pharma in this, or is pharma just sort of waiting in the wings? And yeah, I mean, a lot of it is that FDA, I mean, there's only a handful of DEA licenses out there where you can be doing federally approved, sort of phase 1, phase 2, and all do the work that's necessary in order to get a drug, what is a new drug application approved. And so that, I mean, it really is so much about money and time, but it does exist, and there are a handful of companies that are trying to do that. But that's also, it's also a very different sort of outcome that they're going for, for better and for worse.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I think it's the Botanical Drug Act. It's been around for like 25 years, and only one naturally occurring drug formulation, I think, has actually made it to the final stage and gotten a monograph, right? That's a very, very low percentage. So
I'll say.
yeah.
You've been in the industry a long time, and you came in trying to fill this gap of what you're interested in. Like, do you see anybody else doing something interesting that is adjacent to you or cousins to what you're doing, or does everybody else still suck?
No. There's really solid, great operators in the industry. You know,
You talk shit here. Nobody's watching.
You know, I was looking for the screen where you
No,
can
it's
see
here.
like,
It's
how many people
We
are
have
watching.
it. I can tell you.
Nasty comments.
118.
Okay, great.
And that's
Hey.
just on Jeremy's Twitter.
So I think that, yeah, well, and so in my world, I think anyone pushing genetics, like what interesting things can we do with genetics, right? Not only on the D9 side and, you know, whatever the new flavor of the month is, but can we express new cannabinoids? Can we change the ratios of them? That really impacts the supply chain, right? It helps drive costs down when we have better genetics, higher expressions of cannabinoids. Any type of delivery technology, people who are working on that, right? For cannabis, right? It's lipophilic. So it's like oil and water when you put it in the body, hence why we have to do these, if you're not ingesting it, people play these tricks with them, if you will, but ways to solubilize them, make them so they're more bioavailable. There's a handful of them to help with that. So, and a lot of it is older technology. So people working on newer technology to solve this, I think is really interesting. And, you know, I mean, there's big brands out there too that I just really admire because, you know, we aspire to be a well-known national brand. It's harder in our category to do that. So when I see a lot of these companies, you know, really scaling and building great brands, it's good for me to see because I'm like, okay, there's some hope.
Talk about how you've looked at your state-by-state expansion and how you've chosen both what markets to target and also your partnership strategy within those markets, if you have any.
So yeah, when we look at it, it's most obviously we want to take an asset light approach as much as possible. Can't stand up infrastructure in every state. So looking for partners that don't have a competing product to ours, which most don't, but that also means that they don't have the manufacturing knowledge for it or the equipment needed for it. So we have a mobile facility essentially that we had one in the Midwest. We have one in New York that can service Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. So my team flies in, we pick up our equipment, go to our licensed processor partner, manufacture for a week. You know, we can manufacture 1 million tablets in a week, leave them tablets. They fill finish as needed, do distro, we run sales. So that's our model because
It's a good fucking model.
it can't.
Isn't it?
Jason's
No, you ain't?
excited.
Yeah.
He's available. Open
Oh,
for hire.
jeez. I have a car.
Yeah.
I can get there.
So it's good. We can minimize the amount of capex needed. The partners don't have to rely on needing equipment lines for it. We can manufacture in 300 square feet. Like we don't need a lot of space. We don't need a lot of power. The product is very amenable for this type of strategy. And we have a couple patents on our process, which allows us to do it. It's a completely dry process where most people, if they're doing things like this, they would have 2 extra steps because it would be a wet process for infusions and things like that. And our process is completely dry, which is why we can roll in 5 days and do this and then leave under these kind of conditions. So looking at all that, finding partners, single state operators, we've worked with, large MSO, we worked with smaller MSOs. We kind of did a design of experiment, like, okay, let's figure out what kind of partnership we think works best. And so, 6 states, we probably had 4 different types of partners in that. And learned a ton of painful lessons over the past 18 months. Things haven't worked. We had to divest Michigan because right when we launched, the market just started crashing. So we gave it a shot for a year. Recently, our partner in Ohio needed to change kind of how they were doing business. So had to leave there. So we've lost a few states over the past year and a half, which is unfortunate, but still going strong in the other 5.
It's interesting that you bring up Michigan because we know that the industry in many markets has suffered from extreme price compression, and you mentioned that. But I wonder if your category is subject to that in the same way as flower.
Yeah, we don't miss. It's really challenging in markets, especially mature ones like Michigan, where I don't know. At some point, it was get 6 gram carts for $30. When the consumer, when they're buying 200 milligram gummies for $4 off the door, you just, that mindset you can't overcome. And for us, it's like, we're not going to race to the bottom. You know, so we went in and we just didn't sell well there. I think there was several reasons why for it, but the pricing structure just killed us too. You know, and I think how much the consumers have been trained there, and not only there, it's happening in California. You know, price compression everywhere it's challenging.
Yeah, it's a big problem here in Vegas too.
Oh yeah,
because there's so many dispensaries, and it's so easy to get to the next one. So.
That's true.
But I mean, Michigan's also funny. I mean, I think it's just like Southwest Michigan, a New Buffalo border, right over from Indiana. There's over 20 dispensaries within like this tiny little space. Somebody told me though that they did like 300 million of sales in last year, you know, in the past 12 months or whatever. In that, this concentration right over the border, and it's just nuts.
Well, they were saying that the most common unit sold on that part of Michigan on the Ohio border, was 2-ounce bags.
Huh. Nice. And on the other side of the border are the world's largest fireworks stores. So yeah,
perfect. What goes better?
I think anytime, you can have retail right on next to prohibition estates. You know, it's going to be really.
Although
good.
now it's
Yeah. Well, any states on the roadmap for 2026 that you are looking for partners, that if anyone out there is listening, that they should get in touch with you?
I mean, Missouri, I think, is still really interesting. We looked at Illinois and Missouri quite a bit last year, but I think Missouri is probably a better opportunity for us when we look at the landscape. Florida's still really interesting, but you know, there's inherent challenges either way. We originally had a 10-state 3-year roadmap, and we did 7 states 2 years, and then I was very naive, did not understand that running 7 states would be 7 unique businesses. Even when you have good partners, it is still just like, it is a full-time job. And so that was a big miss on my part and a big learning experience. So we've backed off on regulated expansion. We're, shoring up the states we're in. We're going to go much deeper where we think we'll do better that way in those states. We think we have the opportunity to really win in those states. And then right now, just really pushing on the DTC hemp side. So that's really our expansion right now.
Well, this is great. We connected with you. Was it a month ago, you think?
It was summertime.
Yeah,
summertime.
Yeah.
Was it now December?
I have one more question.
Go for it.
That's maybe a little more personal, but something I'm really curious about is you and your wife are business partners, and you guys work together. And I sat behind you guys on the airplane coming out to Vegas, and I could just tell that you still like each other. You were laughing. I think like one of you even like leaned over and gave each other a kiss.
Wow,
and I thought, damn, this is awesome. Like they work together and they still like each other. And
it would be crazy if you're like, not really.
I will say I know they did. I witnessed it, and I think that's like. How the heck do you work with the person you're married to? That's amazing.
No, well, thank you very much. Very nice. And I still love my wife more than very much. We've been together 27 years, and we just had our 22nd wedding anniversary in July. So I think we've been working together for 8 years. So I founded the company, and then about a year and a half, 2 years, we needed help. She came in she's sales, marketing. That's her skill set. She's amazing at it. I know nothing of it. We were needing to build a little sales team, and she was in between kind of her work. She's like, "Oh, I'll come in and help you for a second, help you stand up a sales team." And she got in there, and then my original co-founder was like, "I'm out of here." So she moved right in, right? And then we've been running it since. Yeah, incredibly challenging at times. If we were a newer couple, if we didn't already have almost 17 years under our belt together, never would have worked. Both the business and the relationship would have failed. But as I said, very complementary skill sets. We couldn't have built Level if it wasn't the two of us, right? She's amazing at, I think, helping to pull out the vision that I have and get it actually working in different operational ways, especially sales, marketing, people. So that aspect's amazing. But yeah, it's been hard. We've gone through some really hard times of trying to figure out, are we business partners? Are we married? What is going on here? And so we've gone to a place where it's like very hard and fast rules. There are places in the house that work is never discussed. And, we catch ourselves like, oh, I can't do this in this room. And, I think really defining and defining those boundaries and then both of us respecting them. And you know, she's amazing because I would work myself to death, and she's always like, "Stop, we have to pull back." So it's
Boundaries. That's a hot tip.
So
Everyone
mature.
needs to work on boundaries.
So
That's-
mature.
Yeah, I
Nice.
know.
God,
Love it.
I know.
real people.
I didn't really learn what a boundary was until I was like over 40. So I'm still I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I like think
I am too.
Yeah,
So-
it's a lot.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much.
coming in.
It's really fun.
AnnaRae
Really
and
appreciate
Marc.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. This is so fun. We
This is
are. I
great.
know this
Yeah.
is on the road. We can take it on the road even
Love
more. Thank you all for watching, both today and actually a little bit yesterday, but also on Wednesday. I thought it was great.
Yes.
This was really
This is
fun.
terrific.
Thank you all for watching. We'll be back doing this at some point. We'll be back to our Friday regular show.
Yep.
Next
Probably
Friday.
next week. Yeah.
Next Friday.
Okay.
I have to do one computer thing before we actually stop going live. So sorry, everybody. You
So
get to see my laptop. Um,
And thank you for Eric Rossetti, who
Yes,
is,
thank you,
is
Eric.
our high spirits producer that came
Yes.
to Vegas and has been helping us get to have multiple cameras. So if
Yeah.
you think this looks cool,
let Eric
Because-
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eric.
Good. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you down the road.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Peace out, everyone.
Bye.